Yeah, let the energy just build in as we begin the first panel discussion on Realty Plus Conclave. The first session on the topic Indian Realty in Rare View, Good, Bad, and What's Next. The session will be chaired by Arpit Mehrotra, Managing Director, Bengaluru, and Head of Flex India Colliers with over 19 plus years of experience. Arpit is responsible for the firm's overall direction, strategy, and growth. Arpit enjoys strong relationships with private investors, developers, and local and global corporates, and plays a crucial role in strategizing end-to-end real estate solutions for corporate occupiers and developers, including advice on leasing, sale, purchase. Can we give it out for Arpit Mehrotra, please? And also introducing our speakers in alphabetical order, I would love to welcome Ashwinder Singh, CEO, Residential, Bhartiya, Urban, and best-selling author. Ashwinder is a real estate finance, developer, funding, and banking professional. He has helped several organizations achieve market-commanding positions, including JLL Residential, Anarok Properties, where he served as a CEO for both India and UAE, and Bajaj Housing Finance Limited, where he was the group business head for the country. Let's give it out for the gentlemen, please. Come on, put your hands together. Also, let's give it out for Bhaskar T. Nagendrappa, President CREDAI Bengaluru. Bhaskar has taken over as the 15th President of CREDAI Bengaluru. He's the co-founder and joint managing director at Habitat Ventures Private Limited, and implements the company vision and strategy of focused innovation. Can we all put our hands up in the air and give it out for Bhaskar T. Nagendrappa. Next we have Farook, Mahmood, CMD, Silverline Group, and Chairman Emeritus and Founder, President, FIABCHI India. Farook has been in the real estate business for over 43 years and was the world president FIABCHI that represents 70 countries covering all 4 verticals of real estate. He is fellow RICS President Emeritus and past President Bangalore Realtors Association, founder President and IP Vice Chairman of NAR India, and past Chairman ICREA USA. Let's give it out for Farook Mahmood, please, ladies and gentlemen. And next on my list, in alphabetical order, Madhusudhan G, CMD, Sumadhura Infracon Private Limited. Madhusudhan is a first-generation entrepreneur, is a well-known thought leader with over 2 decades of experience in the real estate industry. He founded Sumadhura Group, one of South India's leading real estate companies, in 1995. Under his dynamic stewardship, Sumadhura Group has achieved significant milestones, growing at an unprecedented pace with a turnover of over INR 5 billion. Yeah, that's Madhusudhan G for all of you. I would now request our dear moderator to kindly take over the proceedings, please. Can we give it out for the first panel discussion, please?
Good afternoon, everyone. A lot of energy. Yeah, we had a good lunch. Thank you. So we had in fact, just wanted to thank everyone. The first session, I know it's a difficult session, especially after the lunch. But what we will try to do is that we will try to make it very inclusive. Please stop us in case if you have any questions, while we have the right speakers to talk about from the subject perspective. But the more we talk about it, the more it will be interactive. I think it will be much more knowledgeable to everyone. So while this event has been, in fact, Tripti has been planning this for the longest time, and I'm very thankful to her that finally we see this happening in Bangalore. Thank you. So Indian reality in rear view, good, bad, and what next? While last 2 years had been tough year, and tough for some part of the business, tough. Then probably some part of relaxation came in and some easiness came in. While now we are in the fag end of this year, but the exciting part is that what's going to happen next, and then the eminent speakers will be talking more on it. But from a construction industry perspective, I think last 2 years, pre-COVID and the post-COVID era, right? The pre-COVID and the post-COVID this year, probably in the year in March, the input cost has been highest. But over a period of a time, the cost came down and it went up to highest of the, probably on the 28% it went up. While the relaxations came in when the government started intervening, but what's us for the next year? I have the esteemed speakers on the session are Ashwinder. He's a CEO Residential Bhartiya Urban. Mr. Bhaskar, President CREDAI. Farook Mohammed, CMD Silverline Group. Mr. Madhusudhan, CMD Sumadhura. And Mr. Mulli. Mr. Mulli is missing. Unfortunately, he had something which has cropped up in the last time. So, Farook ji, from your perspective, while we had been talking about the input cost, what do you think, what has happened in the last 2 years' journey and what do you think what's going to happen further?
Thank you, sir. Good afternoon to all of you. Like you rightly said, we have the calendar starting with AD and BC, but now the calendar will be before COVID, that's BC, and after COVID, AC. So we have to look at it from a right perspective. And I would say that it's been a learning curve and a lot of new things have been evolved around this period. From the perspective of costing, I think there has been a jump of about 30% on raw material. Labor has been extremely difficult to get, and if you get it also, there's been an over 30% cost escalation on that too. The third part is the imports, where we have a double-edged sword, where we're losing foreign exchange to the dollar, and we also have an import problem from various countries where the container costs have shot up, I think about 300%, especially from China and some other countries. So India, I think, is again proving that made in India is going to be the key to all this. And though we are importing from different markets like, as I mentioned earlier, Turkey, Malaysia, and certain other European markets, but all this has a cost factor which will, at the end of the day, add on to the customer, and eventually I personally feel that the customer will pay the price. And talking about the value proposition of how the markets are going to react, the past is history, and from that perspective, I think we've come out of the woods. The future looks extremely brilliant and bright, and I see many happy faces here who've been doing transactions. So I think markets are here to stay, they're here to improve, and there's going to be a cost escalation because of all this. And eventually, at the end of the day, it's going to be one happy family as far as sales go. People are going to make sure that they have to do a good product at the end of the day to stay in the business. And overall, if you look at it, I think it's a win-win situation. COVID, we've had problems. God has seen us through the toughest of times, though we've lost a lot of friends, near and dear ones, and the economy was shattered at that point of time. But I think India, with its resilience, and has come out, and it's come out shining. And I personally feel there's a lot of positivity, positive and growth that's going to happen in the markets. I'm very bullish on this.
Thank you so much. So my next question will be on Mr. Madhusudhan. If you can add about the rise in the cost of construction. And over the years, we have seen that probably 5 to 10% it's been growing on. How do you see next year, which is 2023?
Thanks, Arpit. Thanks, Realty Plus, for giving an opportunity to share the dais, the industry leaders. Coming to the point, post-COVID, actually COVID and the pre-COVID events, as you all know, demonetization, RERA implementation, GST implementation, NBFC liquidity crisis. The COVID and the impact of this increasing material cost is only a tip of iceberg actually. So it was preceded by all these events. In spite of that, there are few advantages or post-COVID advantages. If we see the importance of home in everyone's life has got a lot of importance when it comes to pre-COVID. The share of affordable homes used to be around 30-40% in launches. In the latest report, if we see, the affordable homes has dipped down to less than 10%. So ultimately, when the demand is there or when the positive sentiment is there, whether the impact of the raising input cost, impact of the raising labor cost can be absorbed as long as the demand is there. This COVID has resulted the importance of the home in home buyers, this thing. We can see visibly the luxury housing or the ticket size or the unit sizes improving post-COVID. This is resulted in getting momentum or even the accumulated inventory. Pre-COVID, it was 4 years inventory. It was hardly 8 to 10 quarters inventory unsold as per the latest data. So as long as demand is there and the importance of the home is increasing and the discipline is maintained by the real estate players, going forward and the world looking at India as an alternative option to China and make in India, all these things are going to result in demand and ultimately traction, momentum, and success or the real estate can contribute hugely for the 5 trillion economy what the government is talking about.
But sir, in a short term, do you think it will impact the low-cost housing moving ahead, especially the next year, because of input cost going up?
Low-cost housing is the serious impact. We are already seeing that in future launches also. The low-cost housing is impacted by even the little customers, even customer sentiment, and the overall cost is also, it is impacted. Now, low-cost housing has become not at all viable. Already, especially in metro cities, the land cost and the approval process are impacting a lot. Still, it is going, for low-cost housing, it is going to be a big challenge going forward.
Understood. Thank you. Ashwinder, I'm coming up next to you. While you have seen brokerage side, you have seen mortgage side, banking side, last year, while the residential market has really gone up, like what Mr. Madhusudhan has been saying it, sales have gone up, inventory which was available in the market has gone out completely, probably luxury segment has gone up. How do you see next year shaping up?
Thank you, Arpit. Thank you so much. See, it's we are all covering a very, very similar aspect. See, one of the most important things to see how the future demand is going to be is how the land is trading. That is one thing that I keep on saying, because land is the raw material for us. And in the H1 of 2022, there's already been around $1 billion of land that has been bought in the top 7 cities at an average cost of 12.5 crores. And if land is the most important cost after approvals, etc., in markets like Mumbai, and then the construction cost plus the land cost is generally 67, 2/3 of the total sales price. That's how I look at it when I run my numbers. It seems like that the demand is going to continue, Arpit, at least for the next 3, 4, 5 years, because the shared economy, the way we were looking at it, is not kind of panning out, at least on the housing side. People want to buy homes. There is a minimum increase of 100% in sales in 22 H1, even till September over the previous year, which cannot be a flash in the pan. New launches are coming in. The average ticket size is going up. It is for the first time, there is a terminology which is used in the startup world, which is called FOMO, which is fear of missing out. It is for the first time I see that there are buyers who have a FOMO. If there is a product which is getting launched by a good developer, credible developer, doesn't matter whether he is big, medium, small, people don't want to lose out on the opportunity. One of the other key indicators is that the rental yield in Bangalore right now is at 4 to 5%. And I have been now lately saying that, you know, people keep on talking about rising interest rates and rising interest rates having an impact on your EMI. But the beauty is that the rising rental for the first time is more than the rising EMI. So anybody who's staying on rent, the increase that they are seeing in the rent is far more than the increase that you see in your EMI. Even if you look at the 6-month rate of increase of 2% of repo rate that has happened, where your EMIs would have gone up by 10%. So that also means that capital values are going up, investors are back, and the demand seems to be, till the time, you know, we can stay away from the speculative kind of an environment which was there in 2012, and 80% are end users, which seems like, which also includes people who are going to upgrade, which has become a major necessity now. At least for the 3-4 years, I see a very sustainable and a consistent growth in demand.
In fact, I keep on talking about it, especially from a Bangalore perspective, that Bangalore is not one city. It's a combination of at least 2-3 cities. Every micro market, whether north, east, south, is self-sufficient in terms of infrastructure, in terms of social infrastructure, hotels, hospitals. So it's a combination of 2-3 cities. And talking about yield, 4-5% yield, while the national yield will be between 2 to 3%, the yields in Bangalore are the highest in the country at this point of a time. So coming on my next question to Mr. Bhaskar, especially last 2 years, we have been seeing people working from home, especially the IT technology team who had been Bangalore host highest quality of high-end talent when it comes to technology. And last 2 years, while the offices have slowed down, but the residential has gone up, which means that disposable income has increased, especially on the high-end housing. How do you see on a premium housing for the next year? And what do you see from a national as well as from a Bangalore perspective?
Good evening. Thank you very much for having me here. And one thing, I mean, to start with, actually, like Mr. Farook mentioned, I mean, it is, you know, BC and AC. So everything is connected to the sentiments of the home buyers. So the sentiments of the home buyer, who is the end customer, unlike any other, you know, market in the country, Bangalore is one market where it's predominantly driven by the end user. So it's not an investor-driven market, it's an end user-driven market, because of which, I mean, post-COVID again, I mean, there are various reasons or, you know, like which have contributed to the sentiment enhancement. COVID was the last one to go through. I mean, before that, I mean, every city in the country went through some or the other kind of, you know, turbulence or kind of disruptor. But in Bangalore city, we had one more important thing, which was called NGT. National Green Tribunal, whatever, it was specific to Bangalore city only, where in which a lot of builders also got stuck. And the entire sentiment of the home buyers was also kind of affected. No mistake of the developers also, because the projects were in different stages. I mean, few projects were in advanced stage of completion. So, but whatever the reason, but the sentiments were hit very badly. COVID, one thing what it did was, it changed the perspective of the home buyer. It made them realize the importance of home, because majority of the time they stayed at home. The home started behaving in different forms, be it school, be it office, be it entertainment, be it, you know, theater, be it bar, be it puja, be it what. I mean, the home played the role of all the possible spaces what one, you know, leads his life in. Because of which, I mean, the importance, I mean, whatever they were feeling, upgradation happened, and the larger space demand increased, and multiple things happened. Now, actually, I mean, this was internal, externally also, like from sub 2 trillion to 5 trillion, whatever economy we are talking about. The reality also is going to go up. The catchment is going to go up. Like rightly mentioned by you, we are the IT capital.
Correct.
Highest absorption in the IT space. I mean, today, all of us are talking about the recession globally in the developed world.
Correct.
But I mean, in India, because of the work from home and, you know, I mean, somebody from New York can work from India. The same assignment. So, I mean, the job prospects also in the IT segment has increased. So, multiple reasons. I mean, only one thing I can say, the sentiments have really improved. It is, whatever is gone is gone. Now, actually, whatever the way forward or the way ahead is, very bright and prospective. We need to, I mean, every challenge will always have an opportunity. And we had a very challenging time. I mean, now forward from here, actually, the things are going to be very bright. And everybody is optimistic, not only the domestic Indian market or even the people across the world. I mean, everybody is bullish on the Indian market. And the absorption capacity of the consumer or the, by and large, the general public of the population of the country. So things are going to be very bright. I mean, it all depends on us. Now, as I said, I mean, we have moved pre-COVID, unorganized to organized. The reality itself, I mean, we can say proudly, I mean, who are night by fly kind of, operators have gone. It is all only organized professional developers who are here. So the future is very bright.
On that, thank you so much, Mr. Bhaskar. My next question will be again to Farook and Mr. Madhusudhan together. Especially while the input cost has been increasing, which we have been seeing in the last 2.5 years altogether. But now when things got settled up, now we see home loans going up, right? Do you see that probably for next year when the home loans, because it's going to increase for some more time, you see your residential sales coming down, and what do you see about 2023 on that?
Sir, Arpit, if we just review last 2007 onwards kind of thing, 2008 to 2013-14 was a very bull run in terms of real estate absorption or the units sold per year kind of thing.
Correct.
If you see the interest rates, there are from 18 to 13% it inched. When it comes to 2014 to 2020, 21 or 22, the interest rates are from 14 to 6.5%. In spite of that 14 to 6.5%, the inventory doesn't move. The inventory piled up for years together, where sometimes in some of the micro markets it touched
3 years.
60 months kind of thing.
Yep.
So here the major item in Indian market, it plays the sentiment and the now what we are talking about, the importance of home. This is what playing. In addition to that, because of the demographic dividend, the domestic resilience, the domestic consumption, India growth story is still intact. Everyone is looking at India. So I think when it comes to, in spite of all these positives, the only interest rates may not affect prominently or to the bothering extent in consumption of even either residential or whatever it is. This is what I feel.
Thank you. I think I totally agree with Mr. Madhusudhan's point of view. I'd just like to add that this is not going to change anything major. You will see, and as you see also in the market, new launches, 30% sold on the day of the launch, 25% sold on the day of the launch. So this trend is going to continue because it looks like it's going out of fashion. People are wanting to buy property. People are wanting to get the piece of the action. And one very important factor is home loans, like Mr. Madhusudhan said. I remember at one point of time it was over 20%.
Yeah.
And now if you look at it, we are coming around to a state where we are going to settle at the international rates, which are going to be, of course, not in the next 1 or 2 years, because we've got various economical factors, recession, global recession that's happening. But I don't see the R of the recession happening in India, though there have been a little bit of job retrenchments and things like that, but that's not a major issue to really look at this point in time. I think I'm very, very bullish. I'm a born optimist, and I always see the glass half full than glass half empty. I personally feel that this is a time when the developers this is going to differentiate between the boys from the men. At that point of time, whoever has survived the COVID and has been here right now is here to stay. Professionalism is there, accountability is there, and people have that faith. At one point of time, they were saying millennials are not interested in buying property, but I think today the trend has changed. Not just the millennials, but everybody is wanting to buy property, and I personally feel the prices are going to go up. In fact, one of the things I was just talking to a newspaper a day or so back. I was telling them that the inventory that is left over from the previous, 2 years it's much cheaper to buy that right now, because if one were to acquire the land and go into construction mode, they're going to see a 3 to 4 year period where, start to finish. It's cheaper to buy the product right now because it's at a throwaway price. So I would say, in my perspective, it's at least about 30-40% cheaper than what it's going to be in the next couple of years. So I personally feel the markets are here to stay. And adding on to the cost of construction, yes, this is going to go up, but that's a phenomenon that we're going to live with. Today you're living in Whitefield, you're paying X. Tomorrow you move on to the next fast moving suburb, and the cost of construction is going to keep changing, and the cost of land is also shot up, and it's cheaper today. So my advice is buy today than tomorrow.
Understood. In fact, just to add further, Farook, when you were talking about recessions, what's happening here, probably my take on that, and this is my personal take on that, is I've seen 2007, 2008. When the global financial crisis happened and everyone said that no one will fly airplanes. But the next thing which happened is all the planes after a point of a time were running full. So whatever happens, happens for the good. If US is in trouble, which means that India will come back very, very strongly, because if they have to put down investment, Europe is in trouble, China, it will not happen, and the kind of skill set this country has is much higher. So I'm pretty optimistic like you, Farook, on talking about it, that probably we will come back very, very strongly. We have to keep on building. I think the disposable income is only going to increase further. So that's where I see about it. Now,
when comparing the raise in interest rates,
absolutely.
200 bips, compare the disposable income, increase in the disposable income over the last 24 months.
Correct.
And the residential rental yield. These two are the major factors which are going to substantiate the impact of the especially the interest rates.
Yeah, absolutely. The way it's moving up, see the amount of inventory. Bangalore is the city, probably Bangalore is the hub when it comes about commercial real estate or residential real estate in the country. People watch Bangalore carefully. What happens in Bangalore, probably it becomes a trend for the country. And that's where the highest stock, whether it talks about commercial or residential or coming up stock, is the highest here in the country. Where I see moving ahead, I don't see a panic situation. Maybe our next 2 quarters or 3 quarters will be a little slow, but I see one job cut there means 6 jobs will come down to this country, because we are a highly educated country and the skill sets are much higher.
Just to add to what you're saying, I think we are 1/3, I think about 25% of what it would cost to do it out of the country, we're doing this. So people are not coming to India to have masala vada and bisi bale baat and tandoori chicken, or they like the Bangalore weather. They're coming here basically because we are giving them value products at an affordable cost, and one man's food is the other man's poison. So if they are running through a recessionary period, I think this is the time when I see this as a bigger opportunity for our companies and IT companies here to grow. And you've seen it, the past numbers of the absorption of space also, what's been happening in Bangalore and across India. So I think we're good to go, and I'm very bullish and very positive on what's happening.
Thank you. Thank you. So my next question will be to Mr. Suresh and Ashwinder itself. Ashwinder, especially you had been part and bringing something which was North Bangalore has not seen, and you are part of a 140 acres campus, and the way you developed over a period of years, which is Bhartiya, right? While Tier 1, everyone has been talking about it, the gated community, the hotel, the infrastructure which you have built in. What do you think about Tier 2, where the land pooling and the land cost is much easier? Do you think 2023 you would like to venture into a Tier 2 city?
Actually, it's a very good thought-through question, and nothing less could have been expected from somebody who's so ingrained in real estate. I personally feel that Bangalore itself is a very big city, and real estate is a state subject.
Correct.
Or I would say a city subject. And there are very few developers in the country who have moved out of their core city and have been able to do well. It is only a recent phenomena in the last 1 or 2 years we've seen people going out, venturing into different cities and doing better. I personally feel that Tier 2, we are all in the business of managing risk.
Correct.
I always say, I'm not a developer, because actually I have never worked with a developer earlier. This is for the first time I'm working in a developer, and I've always had a very different opinion. And finally people have started agreeing to me, especially people who've been in the development world, that we are in the business of risk. If you can manage risk, if you can price your product well, there is no harm in selling slow also. So if you want to go to tier 2, it has to be a completely different strategy where you price it well. You can't price it high, but you can't price it low. You have to look at, profitability. However, there is so much of demand in these top 7 cities already. And yes, because of work of home and many technology itself is 10 to 12% of the salaried population of the country. And people have gone to different cities where their organizations have allowed to work from home. There is a demand that has happened. Cities like Jaipur, cities like Mysore, cities like Chandigarh, we have seen new developers coming in, doing well. But I would feel that it is all a matter of your core competence, because it is about having a very good team. It is about on-ground execution. You don't want to spoil the party and start getting aggressive and doing the same mistakes people did 5-6 years back and then blaming the market. Because if you end up making a bad product, or if you end up, pricing it less or more, and you have great sales in Bangalore, and your project in Bangalore is not doing well, you are actually spoiling the party. But yes, if it is well researched, you have a land at a good cost, you have done your research, you feel there is a demand, finally tier 2, tier 3 is tier 2 for sure is going to boom, Arpit. There are no two ways about it. The margins have to be lower, they will be lower, profitability will be lower, and especially if you're a public limited company, you need to kind of figure out how you balance all of these out. But yes, India, 80% is Bharat.
Correct.
And that part of India is definitely going to grow. Education is there, employment is there. So there is an opportunity for sure, but it has to be a calibrated effort by any developer who wants to do it, so that it is a win-win and they don't do one project and stop. Because I have seen earlier also large developers going into different cities, doing one project, facing a problem, and then stopping. But then that is of no use and it is of no fun.
So I definitely wanted to hear what Mr. Bhaskar has to talk about. Mr. Bhaskar, you had been part towards this CREDAI, and since you are president of CREDAI, you understand about tier 2 and tier 3 cities also. While you have been talking, many developers not from a Bangalore perspective, but other cities other than Bangalore. Just wanted to take your inputs on it, and how do you see next year, which is 2023, on tier 2 cities?
Yeah, it's very interesting question, keeping in mind the current context.
Correct.
Current context in sense, not only COVID, the recession in the global world, which is an opportunity for India for better, higher employment. And once it is out in next 3 to 4 years, whenever that picks up, even if we read the International Labour Organization report, the UN report on the labor, we are going to be exporting even the agriculturist to the rest of the world. When that kind of scenario is happening, tier 2 cities, currently today, the way, at least for Karnataka, if you look at, Karnataka is Bangalore, Bangalore is Karnataka. That is how it is. But going forward, that is not going to be the case. Everything cannot be Bangalore, infrastructure or even water or so many things. The establishment will not be in a position to do that. So now currently we are talking about a second airport, coming up next to, apart from the Kempegoda International, somewhere near. And we are talking about on next month, 12th, Shimoga Airport opening up. There are opportunities, like Mr. Ashwinder said, it's all price centric. The entire thing revolves around the pricing. Unfortunately, in Karnataka, the affordable housing policy is not implemented to the fullest extent what it should have been, like in Gujarat or like in Rajasthan or elsewhere. Now, we have given a representation, it's been considered, it is going to the cabinet, probably in coming before election, probably it should be out. So, the entire population of the Karnataka state should be in an advantage. Because, the capital cost is, since you are coming under the infrastructure category, your cost of capital is going to reduce. There is no official fee what you will be paying for plant sanction, and you have a double the FSI. There are multiple advantages. So the cost of capital is, the cost of selling product is going to be, lesser compared to what it is. So going forward, tier 1, whatever, from here, how far real estate can keep going on. Now, we said actually, migration. Now, when independence happened, 90% of the population was in villages. Now, today we are talking about, we said, urbanization is a reality. But when you come to urban area, then suburbanization is a truth.
Correct, absolutely.
So when migration is happening at such a large extent, and people are going and staying in suburb area where the density is going to increase, but the infrastructure is the lowest level, be it sanitation, be it road or whatever. So the tier 2 cities is got a future. It's just a matter of time when it will open up. One biggest contributor is Make in India.
Correct.
Now actually, even I remember Dabaspet actually when we used to go around on the highway, left hand side, what was sold at $500, $1,000, today I mean you're getting it 5,000 rupees a square foot, residential plots. I mean apartment near Vasanta Narsapura, next to in KIDB, I mean largest Japan city or whatever that industry. So tier 2 city, there is a prospect, there is a future. It's just a matter of time. Make in India is a reality, and things are happening in the smaller towns also.
So why to go further? You have a colleague who is sitting.
Yeah, actually Bhartiya city we talk
I was
about it,
coming up
but
there.
yeah, but I'll tell you, the reason I am not too bullish about tier 2 city, it is very fashionable to say tier 2 cities will do well. But what is happening, sir, is that I've been in Bangalore now for a few years. Earlier, Bangalore was still Mekri Circle, right? So what happens it is now today Bangalore is 70 kilometers of diameter. Now, it is not that the tier 2 cities have not done well.
Correct.
The major cities like Delhi NCR, like Bangalore, which have the ability to grow, Hyderabad, which have the ability to grow, they keep on growing further and further because most of the new employment opportunities keep on coming here. Now Kia has come near Bangalore, and most of the people who are working in Kia are also staying in Bangalore. So what is happening is actually that the tier 2 city might not. So for example, Bombay and Pune is now, you can say it is one city because you take 1.5 hours from Vashi. If you are in Vashi, you take less than 1.5 hours, you take actually 1 hour and you are in Pune. So the metros which have the potential to grow, they keep on growing because of the new employment opportunities coming here, airports coming here, entertainment being here, education being here. And that is why Bangalore as a city, for example, or Mumbai or Pune as a city, they keep on growing much bigger. So from 70 kilometers of a diameter, like you gave an example, is not a joke.
Same thing actually. Now they were very keen on having
comes
5
to-
runways for Bangalore airport. They opposed the second airport.
Yeah.
Now Israel is investing there.
Correct.
Now 5 runways they were willing to. They said, you will do the runways, but where will I have the road for those, the traffic, like whatever is happening.
Yeah.
Now in Delhi also, what Mr. Sindhya mentioned, I mean, everybody is focused on the runway. Come out of the runway, look at other things. Now that's change is something which is constant, we cannot help. And Make in India, the job opportunities and the confidence of the Indian youth also.
Yeah.
In themselves and the sentiments as such.
Yeah.
And I mean, even in my own realty industry, the kind of absorption of the flooring material or, sanitary or, toiletries. I mean, it was all, from, different countries. Now today we are talking about majority of our consumption is from Make in India only.
Ashwinder Ji, when we talk about tier 2 cities, instead of comparing with the tier 1 cities, tier 2 cities, if we can call this COVID as again a watershed movement for real estate industry in especially tier 2 cities. This work from home or dynamic model, it is enabling them to stay near to their parents, to their thing, stay close to the nature and still delivering everything. And the affordability of the homes, affordability of the social infrastructure, it is making them. If you see 2015 to 20, tier 2 cities contribution is only 1/5. But in the next 5 years, it is going to be at least 1/3. These tier 2 cities are going to be the growth engines. May not be the most of the listed or the tier 1 developers may not start. If you see the Ahmedabad has crossed many of the tier 1 cities. Jaipur, Nagpur, Goa, Vishakhapatnam. There are 100 cities. The government initiatives like Amrut, like Smart City Mission and Udaan, these initiatives are going to add value, growth to these engines, and ultimately these are the growth centers in overall development of the country. and even in the real estate. But we need not to compare with tier 1 cities or developers going from tier 1. There are developers, every tier 2 cities, its own set of developers are grooming. Some of the areas, even Kochi, if you see, many developers from Bangalore went and doing Coimbatore, Kochi. These are the cities, as per our RBI, there are more than 100 tier 2 cities. These cities are going to be growth engines for next phase of real estate. That's what even I believe.
100 smart city, whatever has come out, is a reality. I've seen even within Karnataka also. Like those are reality. The aspiration of people, whoever is buying or whoever is living in whichever this thing, they want to lead the same lifestyle what they lead a life in Bangalore. Now earlier actually, even 10, 15 years back, you could talk about a fast food McDonald's only in Bangalore city. But how many McDonald's you saw? And now you are able to see McDonald's even on the highways.
Yeah.
So the aspiration, the growth prospects, the acceptance, the wish list has grown up. So like Madhu said, you cannot compare both. It's not apple to apple comparison.
Correct.
But there is an opportunity given now, especially if you add or if there is an amendment to the affordable housing policy of Karnataka within Karnataka state. Karnataka will have a big prospect. Like even the Honorable Prime Minister in a single day, he'll kind of launched 1,000 affordable housing projects in the state of Gujarat. And he handed over a few thousands of homes in Delhi, if I'm right, on the affordable housing. So that is there actually. But we cannot compare the bigger cities to those cities. But there also that potential, that growth, even internet connection itself was a challenge. Now you have a wonderful internet post-COVID. Whatever you go, people are working from there.
Absolutely. I think the energy levels in these discussions are higher, and it's only going to get higher further. So before I move further, while I am very conscious on the time, in case if there are some questions to this panel, please raise it. It's very interesting to talk about it. I can see a lady there. If someone can help with a mic there. Ma'am, it has to open. Just help her now, please. I think.
Hello. Hello.
Yes, ma'am.
Hi. I think this has been a fairly enriching session, as you rightly said. I've just moved from Pune into the city. So very important observation of how Pune has seen a different role change. One very interesting factor that I wanted to ask is, how will the other sectors be impacted? So one is the residential. I see a splurge of senior living coming into Pune. I wonder how the other sectors are going to be impacted. So I thought I just would like to have your views on that.
Mr. Madhusudhan, if you want to, or Ashwinder, if you want to take it, please.
No, it's a very good question. I also moved from Pune, so I see those. Senior living is going to be a reality. There are a lot of even foreign players which want to collaborate with Indian developers to build senior living. Senior living, as everybody said, India is changing, and so is the dynamics and the thought process. India, at one point in time, senior living was a taboo, that how could children kind of leave their parents in a senior living place and come away. But today, the parents want to be in a senior living because it is conducive, they make friends, they have amenities, they have a better social life, medical arrangements are nearby. The parents have traveled abroad and seen how senior living works and how people are happy. There is going to be a very big opportunity in senior living, and it might come as a hybrid model, in some places where you have a senior living block and you have other residential blocks also. And that block caters to senior living because the architecture and design of senior living is very different. You need to cater to many other aspects from a design angle. And integrated townships like, say, for example, ours, we are thinking of doing a senior living block because we have a hospital near, we have a hotel near, we have a mall near, we have a school, so on and so forth. We have a commercial office, and this is going to become an important aspect, like other assets like industrial and warehousing is now doing very well. A lot of, even in tier 2, as you rightly said, most of the industrial and warehousing is coming near tier 2 because land is cheaper. So that asset class is also kind of picking up quite well. I hope I've been able to answer.
Thank you. Mike, please. It's not working. Absolutely. If you can just talk about you also. Talk about you, your name, and the question whom you wanted to ask.
Hi, very good afternoon all. My name is MS Arsha. So I run a very small firm called Asiru Farms. So I have a question to all panelists because I'm so interested in everybody are giving their views on their own business perspectives. So post-COVID, there was a shift in terms of sustainable living and sustainability altogether. So apart from residential and commercial, so what is your views on sustainable projects like farmlands or sustainable cosmetics? There's a lot of people are doing sustainable projects. So what's your take on sustainability?
I think it's a great question because I think sustainability, we hear a lot about offices and offices moving towards sustainability. Especially there are many corporates who are talking about the net carbon or carbon zero over 2025 or 2030. But housing, how do you see sustainability towards housing? Sure, Farook.
I think it's very important, and that's the future of the industry. What one needs to work out is already developers have started doing that. I notice in a lot of projects, people are talking about green. The organization that I represent, global organization, PFC, also talks about sustainable housing. We have a tie-up with the United Nations on sustainable housing. And at the end of the day, you talk about zero carbon credits and things like that. I was just talking the other day on the same subject. If the government can look at tax incentives for sustainable housing, I think that's a very, very important move forward to give you those carbon credits. Your income tax credits could be reduced on this. I don't know how it's going to work, but from a perspective of sales, I think if given two apples, one grown on a natural farm without fertilizers, using fertilizers, and the other used with natural means, people would prefer the ones with nature. So I think that is the way forward, and a lot of developers have been doing this recyclation, water plant, and energy, and facades of buildings are now being designed in such a way that they're used as solar panels, the entire roof area. There's going to be a fight for coverage of space on solar energy, and power especially as it's getting expensive and scarce. I think this is the way forward, and I think there is tremendous scope.
I saw a big smile coming.
Actually, the way I understand, there are two questions in your one single question. One is you're talking about sustainable homes, and the other one you're talking about the farm.
Correct.
Correct.
Okay, so sustainable, Mr. Farook has already explained to you, and each one of us, like as per the Paris Accord, 2070 is a reality. All of us have to do it. As far as we CREDAI builders in the nation are concerned, we have assured that by 2050. And as far as Bangalore, we have implemented in the form of STP and other things. By 2030, and I think we should be reaching in Bangalore, where in which, at least if not for other things, at least on the waterfront, we are trying to, there is a study which is being now done by Indian Institute of Science, where in which I'll be in a position to reuse the treated water, grey water, for construction. Now, for construction, you are not supposed to use the fresh water. So there are multiple things which are coming in, and we are talking about reducing the electricity in the form of solar to multiple kind of source of energy. And farmlands, actually, farmland, second home, weekend home, this is a reality. Like, suburb, whoever is staying in larger, these 7 metro or, like the future going to be added to least, whatever 10, 12 metros, they always aspire to have a weekend home. So the farmland is nothing but a more like a weekend home. So that also is really kind of done. The highest sales, if you see during those period actually, the highest revenue to the government exchequer was from that transaction.
Correct.
Rural. So even in Karnataka now, as we speak actually, during this past 1 year, if you see the real estate transaction or the collection of revenue from the stamps and registrar, like the highest contribution is from that sector, non-agricultural lands.
Just like to say a final
That's
word
also
on
one of
this.
the biggest attributor.
The prices have shot up in a particular development, I'm not going to say it, by about 70% from what it was around COVID period till today. So it's a massive development, and the price appreciation has been over 70% in some of these developments.
Maybe the last question, I see the time
Thank
up,
you.
but maybe the last question. Yes, please.
Hello everyone, my name is Vaibhav.
Can you be a little loud, please, if you don't mind?
Can you hear me now?
Yeah.
Yeah. So I come from a sports infra background, and my question to you all, recently we have seen a lot of inclusion of sports amenities in our Indian reality. So how do you see the future of sports inclusion? Because since recently we have seen a lot of sports in rise all over India. So how do you see the sports amenities inclusion from here in Indian reality?
As we are repeatedly talking about post-COVID, the importance of the home when it, as our Bhaskar sir told, the homes now have become playgrounds even. So of late we have seen many sports-themed communities coming up, and even the customers demanding, including these sustainable features and the sports features, more into these communities, and the communities having these kind of sports features are gaining the momentum, are getting the attention of the prospective purchasers a lot. That's going to be even a further increase in including the sports activities, sports themes into the communities will further gear up. Absolutely.
Thank you.
Actually, they are not only talking about sports now, they are talking about quality. What kind of quality you are providing, whether it's going to be RCC for a basketball court, for example. Now they are talking about specifications. Now, I mean, and people are having revenue out of it. The associations are having revenue out of it with an app. Whenever that's not in use, I mean, outside people can come, pay and use it whenever the slot is open.
Actually, in our development, there's a lot of focus on sports because, see, when you go about design thinking now, today's consumer, today's consumer don't just look at what is inside the house, but it has become very important what is outside the house. And if your inside of the house might be brilliant, but your outside of the house doesn't give that vibe, whether it is sports, whether it is open spaces, whether it is about walking, whether it was, the right ambience, the new projects are not going to be so easy. So the design aspect is going to become the most critical aspect for any project, whether residential, more so residential, to really do well, and sports is going to be an integral part of it.
That is one of the observation pre-COVID to post-COVID. Now, earlier, before COVID, it was only your office and home inside your home. Now, after all these things, and even the demography also has added because you have children and all of that, now, outside your home, within the compound wall, within your community, whatever facilities are there. So that too, without any compromise, they want all international kind of a facility. That is the expectation. With 24/7 kind of an option. Even at the night, 12 o'clock, if somebody wants to, they should be in a position to use. That kind of an expectation.
Thank you. Thank you on this. While again, I'm telling you that if there was time, probably we could have continued for a few more hours here, and we can keep on talking and talking in detail. Happy to answer the speakers are here in this room. Maybe after this session, in case if you have some more questions, you can reach out to them one-on-one. I'm sure that they will be happy to talk about it. So just to summarize, what we see this year was challenging. Maybe the Q1, where the input cost went up, was challenging, but over the last 2 quarters, it came down drastically. And we, like speakers said, we are very optimistic about welcoming next year. Whatever has happened has happened. Disposable incomes have gone up. People are looking ahead for something which they have not seen it before. So I would like to thank you everyone for this, and thank you speakers for coming in and talking about it.
That was an absolute masterpiece. Can we give them a huge round of applause, please? I would now request and invite Deepak Singh, National Director, Stallion Universal Private Limited, to present a token of appreciation to all the panelists. May I request the panelists to kindly come back, please. A plethora of knowledge, experience, everything coming together, packaged together in a nutshell and served to all of you with so much class and finesse. Can we give it out to this panelist, this entire panel? Bigger round of applause, please. Come on. Congratulations. I could have heard you for hours to continue with, and I'm glad that we had this session today. Thank you so much, and thank you Deepak Singh for doing the honors. Let's give it out to all of them one more time, please.